and welcome to the March Madness edition of the Seminole County Board of Adjustment. For those of you in the audience who've not attended one of these kind of hearings before, let me review with you our procedures, and then we'll start the show. As we move down the agenda, staff will introduce each item for consideration. If you are not the applicant and you want to speak either in favor or in opposition to a matter, there's a form out in the lobby we need you to fill out, please, and hand to the clerk to my left. The applicant and the applicant's supporters will be heard first. Those in opposition to the request will be heard next. If the situation calls for it, there might be a rebuttal. We ask that you keep your comments restricted to just what's before the board tonight. We don't get into dirty laundry, homeowners associations, or any of that kind of stuff. If you're an individual and you're not the applicant, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. If you represent a group, you will have 6. Speakers should identify themselves clearly for the record by stating their name and address when they come up to the lectern. We ask that every speaker be given courteous attention and treated respectfully, and just generally treat everybody as you would like to be treated. Heckling is not tolerated. Don't be surprised if we ask you questions, or if we ask staff questions. That's just part of the job. Information that you might share, drawings, pictures, or whatever, are retained by staff as part of the record. If you've got something that you're sharing with us on the projectors that's a digital image, we ask that you, at some point after the meeting, share that with staff so we can keep that in the record. When all the presentations are finished, the floor will be closed, and I will start a discussion with the board, and we will then take a vote. Members who do not cast a vote verbally will be considered to have voted for the matter. At the end, if you disagree with the decision of this board, you can appeal what we've done to the Board of County Commissioners, and staff can help you with that process after the meeting. So having said that, number 1, please.
Good evening, Angie Gates. Item number 1 is a request for a height variance from 5 feet to 6 feet in a front yard for a fence in the A5 Agricultural District located at 1760 Mullet Lake Park Road. The subject property is a double frontage lot and considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The first front yard of the property faces Mullet Lake Park Road, and the second front yard of the property faces Perch Road, where the variance is being sought. The proposed fence is 15 feet from the edge of the right-of-way, and there are no sidewalks in place. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Ms. Gates, one question, and this is rooted in my ignorance. I'm aware that usually when we've dealt with corner lots, that's when we kind of talk about 2 front yards. But as I look at our applicant here, I notice that Perch Road also goes along one of the sides. It loops, if we look at that drawing, it kind of loops to the bottom, goes right, and hooks back up with Mullet Lake Park Road. And I'm just curious why they're considered 2 front yards for that rear as opposed to the side. Is that because both of those are facing a road and that the other one's adjacent to a neighbor?
Yes, there's 2 perches in the rear. Or what we would consider a rear, if you just look at it, and then Mullet Lake Park Road is the front.
So 2 front yards is not just for corners, it's anytime there's 2 roads, at least 2 roads.
And it's different for double frontage versus a corner lot. There's a side street and a front.
Gotcha. All right, thank you, appreciate it. I see the applicant is here. If you'd introduce yourself, sir, please. And
Which one of these?
right in front of you there, please.
Michael Shadorn, 1760 Mullet Lake Park Road, Geneva, Florida.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, that's my backyard, and that was the main reason I'd want a 6-foot fence put up in back there, is to block the view from people driving behind the property. I know y'all consider it road frontage, but it is my backyard where I store all my equipment and stuff.
Gotcha. Anything else you want to share with us?
No? Well, there is something. Y'all are working off of like the 10th survey that I turned in. There's also a drive that comes in off of that back road. And it's not shown on this survey. it was probably about on the 15th survey that I've turned in.
Is it kind of a dirt road, or is it something that's dedicated?
It's a dirt road back there.
It could be just probably something. And Ms.
But
Gates,
it's a
I'll-
driveway, right? Is it a driveway into your property? Is
Yeah,
that what you're talking
I come into
about?
the back of the property on the back side of it.
It is a double frontage lot, so he can access through
Mm-hmm.
Perch. The setbacks will change once he has a 6-foot fence there. It won't be considered double frontage unless he has a gate. If he has a gate, it's still double frontage, and he'd have to meet front yard setbacks for that.
Which means with the road that you're describing, or the entrance there, the dirt road there, we can take note of it, but it doesn't apply to this land development code rule.
Okay.
But we follow what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'll ask again, any questions, gentlemen, the applicant? Yes, sir, Mr. Evans.
So to confirm then, on Perch, you're not planning to put a gate, so we are essentially blocking it, only creating Mullet Lake as your frontage now?
No, I'm planning on putting a gate
Okay,
up.
all right, okay.
At that dirt road?
Yes. The reason this survey was done was the first time I applied, you said, well, if it's going to have a gate, you got to go through a variance. And I said, well, okay, then I won't bother with a gate, I'll just do the fence straight across. Well, then, after I applied for the fence, a 6-foot fence, you said, well, if it's going to be a 6-foot fence, you have to have a variance. And I said, well, if I'm going to go through the variance meeting, I want my gate put in. So
That's fair.
that's the reason it doesn't show it on that one, is because this was like the 10th survey, and we're up to the 15th or something.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us. Any other
Okay.
questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none, anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen, your pleasure.
Move to approve.
Move to approve, we have a second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, sir, enjoy your fence.
All right, thank you.
Number 2.
Item number 2 is a request for a front yard setback variance from 100 feet to 70 feet for an accessory structure in the A5 Rural Zoning Classification District located at 335 Woodridge Drive. The proposed accessory structure will be 1,800 square feet and will encroach 30 feet into the required front yard setback. The applicant has applied for a building permit, permit number 26-1362, and at that time, it was determined that a setback variance would be required. 4 letters of support were received from adjacent neighbors. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Oh, number 2. Duh. Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, any questions for staff?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I just want to make notice that the applicant and I know each other from church. We've known each other well over 10 years. They did reach out knowing I was on the board, and so we did have some ex parte communication. I asked them not to talk about the actual item itself, but I did advise maybe to, procedurally wise, to seek out buy-in or objection from his neighbors. So did want to disclose that I don't have any financial interest or vested interest, so I have no conflict. So, thank you.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. I see our applicant is here. Yes, sir. If you'd share with us your name and address and whatever you want to share.
Sure. My name is, so I'll say good evening, members of the board. My name is Matt Fogel. I'm the owner of 335 Woodridge Drive in the Seminole Woods community of Geneva, Florida. I'm requesting a variance to allow 70-foot setback in place of the requested 100-foot setback based on the specific and unique conditions of my property in accordance with the 6 criteria outlined in the Land Development Code. I just wanted to share some of those here.
Please.
My property has special conditions that are not common with other parcels. My home is oriented sideways on the lot, with the side of the house facing the road rather than the front. In addition, the property contains 2 septic systems and drain fields located on opposite sides of the lot, along with a 35-foot utility easement in the front and conservation and wetland in the back. These constraints significantly limit where I can put that building. So these conditions aren't self-created. The orientation of the home and placement of the septic systems and existing environmental features were established before this request was made. Granting this variance doesn't confer special privilege. The requested 70-foot setback exceeds the Seminole Woods HOA requirement of a 50-foot vegetative buffer. So there's that vegetative buffer that's going to be in between me and the road. And this is consistent with existing patterns in the community. In fact, there are several other variances nearby with setbacks equal or less to what I'm requesting. And I know that precedent isn't something that has to be established here, but I just wanted you to know that this is common in our neighborhood. Strict application of the 100-foot setback creates an undue hardship due to my septic systems. If I were to put it in the back of my home, I would have to drive over those septic systems or move them in order to create vehicle access to this building. Also, I would have to remove indigenous trees and vegetation near and part of that wetland lake area in the back of my house, and I'm trying to avoid to do that. The 70-foot setback is the minimum necessary to allow reasonable use of the property. Maintaining the full 100 setback, again, would force me to put this structure very close to my main residence. And I've been advised that this would create drainage issues and restrict access to my existing garage. So finally, the request is in harmony with the intent of the zoning regulations and will not be detrimental to the neighborhood. The location already has been reviewed and approved by our Seminole Woods HOA Architectural Review Committee, and I know you don't get into that, but wanted you to know they came on site and did a on-site site survey. I did receive 4 unique signed letters from my neighbors. It was a great opportunity to meet my neighbors, actually, for the first couple times, because we're new to the neighborhood. We've been there about almost a year now. So anyway, when accounting for the HOA buffer and the utility easement, the structure will effectively be set back over 100 feet from the road, which preserves the intent of the code, in my opinion. And for these reasons, I respectfully request that you approve this variance. Thanks.
Mr. Vogel, let me tell you, so few people come before us and go through the 6 criteria. I'm talking even like lawyers and engineers. And thank you for doing that. We rarely get that. Gentlemen, any questions for the applicant? See, that's how you make it easy, man. All right, thank you, sir. Is there anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Is there anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Gentlemen.
Move to approve?
Mr. Evans moved to approve.
Second?
Second, Mr. Wright. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy. Number 3, please.
Good evening. For the record, Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. Item number 3 is 2 variance requests for lots 12 to 15 on Jessamy Street, located in the Casa Villa Heights subdivision. The requests are for front yard setback variance from 50 feet to 25 feet and a rear yard setback variance from 30 feet to 20 feet for a single-family dwelling in the A1 zoning district. The request is to construct a 4,975 square foot single-family dwelling encroaching 25 feet into the 50-foot front yard setback and 10 feet into the rear yard. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Gentlemen, any questions for staff? Quick question, and I'm embarrassed that I have to ask this because I don't know it. Do we, along with the applicant posting, do we also mail notices to the adjacent property owners?
Yes.
Good, good. Thank you, ma'am. Is our applicant here? Yes, sir. Please, if you'd come on up and introduce yourself.
I have to turn this in to speak?
Since you went the trouble to fill it out. So.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Your name and address, please, and share with us what you'd like.
Good evening. Louis Dela Cruz, 1357 Phoenix Woods Lane. We're partners with my contractor here, and we've done 2 surveys, and we just want to know if the house, it's a pretty big house, and we want to know what will the setbacks allowed to be in order to fit in on the property, because it does have wetlands on it.
Are you the applicant, sir?
No.
Are you the applicant's representative?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, just because you're asking a question, and that kind of threw me off there.
No, it's okay.
My first time.
In these 5 lots, 3 of the lots are wet, and we tried to move the house, and the 2, lot number 12 and 13, that they drive, we tried to put the house there, but the house is a little bit big, and we're trying to ask for instead of 50 feet, for 20 feet setback in the front and 20 feet in the back.
Anything else you'd like to share, sir?
Say that again?
Anything else you'd like to share?
No.
All right, gentlemen, any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, gentlemen. Is there anyone here in the audience to speak in support of the matter? Seeing none, anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Before I call the question, Ms. Payton, this might not be fair, I might catch you flat-footed with this. We have the one letter from a neighbor.
Yes.
I don't think it necessarily falls into something we would consider, but maybe, is Ms. Cordes here? But maybe if they're watching on TV, do you know the answer to her question?
He came and he left earlier.
Oh, did he get the answer to the question?
Yes.
Good, then I'm not going to worry about it.
We advised him that it would be handled through the building permitting process, and
Perfect. Thank you, ma'am. All right, gentlemen, your pleasure.
Move to approve.
We have moved to approve from the vice chair. Is there a second? Mr. Wright, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, enjoy, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Number 4, please. Puberty.
Item number 4 is a variance request for 5520 Mendenhall Place, located in the Bartram's Landing at St. John's subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback variance from 20 feet to 14.5 feet for a covered patio in the Bartram's Landing, St. John's plan development. The request is to construct a 15-foot by 27-foot covered patio addition, encroaching 5.5 feet into the 20-foot rear yard setback. The property abuts a 15-foot landscape buffer for the community. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Gentlemen, questions for staff? Ms. Payton, I had noticed, looking at the aerial that staff provided and just on the Maps app on my phone, that if we go to the east, to the right, if we're doing a top-down look, well, there we go, I noticed the neighbors having structures kind of going deep into their backyards. Do we know whether they're permitted?
Those are pool screen enclosures.
Okay.
Pool screen enclosures have a smaller setback than a covered roof, a solid roof.
Okay, what about the one to the right there? I'm not quite sure what that is. There's some, oh, is that, that's a plaything, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a playground.
Gotcha. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Last question. Any questions for staff? Yes, ma'am. Are you the applicant? Please share with us your name and address.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Nathan. My husband is not in town, so I'm here. We wanted to build a patio, and our backyard is only 30 feet, and if the variance is 20 feet, we'll have a very small patio, and we couldn't possibly use it for what we want, outdoor dining. So I request a variance for it, sir.
Sounds good. Questions for the applicant, gentlemen? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Seeing none. Anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none. It's the board's pleasure.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Wright. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Mr. Evans, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Enjoy, ma'am. I can't talk tonight. Number 5.
Item number 5 is 3 variance requests for 247 Ridgewood Street, located in the West Altamont Heights subdivision. The requests are for an accessory structure maximum size variance from 676 square feet to 900 square feet, an accessory structure maximum height variance from 15 feet to 16 feet, and an east side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 5 feet for a shed in the R1AA zoning district. The request is to construct a 30-foot by 30-foot accessory structure that exceeds the maximum size by 224 feet, the maximum height by a foot, and encroaches on the east side yard setback by 5 feet. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Anything you'd like to share? You don't have to if you don't want to. But if you want to?
I can. Can I ask a question though first?
Well, after you introduce yourself, please. Give us your name. Just, yeah. What? Can't
It's
hear.
confidential. Protected.
Gotcha. Come and just talk to us, resident and citizen.
How are you, sir? I apologize. That's why I was.
You don't apologize for a daggum
completely
thing. No,
forgot to
sir.
ask earlier, and that's where it came up. So again, as you can see, based on the actual property, and I thank you for your time, but these power lines pose a large transmission easement per se, which kind of creates a whole different element to the property. When I first purchased it, I was excited. It's like, hey, look at all this. And then also like, wait, there's power lines. You can't use half of that. So that's what kind of shifted all this kind of over. And the only space I could find is kind of where it landed there. And that's why I was here asking for the actual variances. That's when I was told, hey, you'll have to try to adjust some of this. So it's pretty wild. Even the front actual property line, that Ridgewood Street, it actually curves up towards the house. It's pretty wild, the front, so it's even less than it looks like. And to make sure I stay within those standards, I just ultimately ended up landing where it was there, so.
Makes sense. Questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Anyone to speak in opposition? Seeing none. Gentlemen,
Move to approve.
a motion to approve from Mr. Wright,
Seconded.
seconded by Mr. Evans. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, sir, enjoy. Now, number 6.
One second.
Went fast on you, that one, sorry.
So sorry. Good evening. For the record, J.D.M. Moreno, Planning and Development. Item number 6 is a variance request for 6048 Lineal Beach Drive. The subject property is located in the Jensen subdivision. The request is for an east side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 6 feet for a pool enclosure, and a south side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 5 feet for a pool enclosure in the R1AA single-family dwelling district. The proposed structure to be constructed is 27 by 48 feet. The applicant applied for the appropriate building permit number 26000167. And at that time, it was determined that the setback variance will be required. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Gentlemen, questions for staff? All right. Seeing none, we have our applicant here. If you'd share with us your name and address, sir.
Hi, I'm Oliver Holland from 6048 Lineal Beach Drive. So good to meet you. So the background again, I believe the pool, I've just bought the house back in November last year with the expectation that a pool enclosure could be built. I believe the pool was built some significant time ago, probably before these specific setback requirements. If the setback requirements as they are defined for a corner lot were applied, then the pool enclosure would actually go into the pool. And the pool enclosure is key to the viability of our pool, given, for example, the amount of leaves that are falling from surrounding trees into the pool. So I believe we would be at a hardship if we didn't have the pool enclosure, and we need the setback variation in order for the pool enclosure to be practical. I think it was very well said by our contractor already in the application, so I probably can't add more, but appreciate your consideration of this.
Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Anyone in the audience to speak in support? We have a second from Mr. Wright. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, sir, enjoy. Next, please.
Item number 7 is a variance request for 33162 Goldcrest Drive. The subject property is located in the Alaqua Lakes Phase 4 subdivision, and it's within the Alaqua Lakes Plan Development. The request is for a west side yard setback variance from 10 feet to 6 feet and 6 inches for a pool enclosure in the PD Plan Development District. The proposed structure to be constructed will be 45 feet by 30 feet. The applicant applied for the appropriate building permit number 260078, and at that time, it was determined that a setback variance will be required. The rear of the property abuts Tract E, which is an open space. There has not been any prior variances for the subject property. This concludes my presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Gentlemen, questions for staff? Seeing none, yes, sir, the applicant.
Yes, my name's Dinesh Kali. I'm the son-in-law of the applicant representing him.
Share with us what you have, please.
I live 2 streets over at 3364 Park Grove. He's moving from California to be closer to family. They're an elderly couple. They purchased the house. It has a nice pool with the assumption that it was going to have an enclosure very similar to ours. It's the same exact house. And then we hired the same person to do the enclosures, and they got turned down. and we need a variance. And the way it was explained to me, the back left corner of the house is 8 foot off of the property line, and it's supposed to be 10, and he's tying into that, and because of the pie-shapedness of the lot, he needs to go straight back, or like the person previous, it wouldn't cover the entire pool, where he has to put the back corner for the screen.
See, this is where I'm waiting for our engineer to jump in.
I think it's another one of those lots where it's another one of those weird kind of shaped lots, Mr. Chair. We're unfortunately, we're very used to seeing up here.
And I can see what you're, kind of on that left side, it kind of seems like it's veering to that left property line there. By the way, anyway, though, time and a place for that. Any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Anyone in the audience to speak in support of this matter? Nope. Anyone in the audience to speak in opposition? Seeing none, gentlemen?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved to approve, Mr. Wright, seconded by the vice chair. Those in favor?
Aye.
All right, enjoy.
Thank you. The only question I have, does the contractor resubmit for approval? or-
Check with staff after the meeting. They're much more qualified than we are to answer
Okay,
that.
thank you very much.
And that is it. Moving on, that just leaves the minutes, and the chair will entertain a motion.
Move to approve minutes from last.
We have a motion to approve the minutes from Mr. Evans. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Thank you. Second from Mr. Wright. Those in favor? All right. They are approved. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.